My first girlfriend. Before I met Anna Carney, I never had a true girlfriend. During my high school years, I had a hard time with the way we operate in society. For example, many of my friends would see a beautiful girl and say, "Wow, I wish I could get laid by her." They would compliment a girl by her breast size or judge someone who was overweight. I guess I saw life differently as my friends. I knew this life was sacred. I knew that to know God wasn't to go to church on Sunday for an hour, and then the rest of the week you could do anything you want. Knowing God isn't a token. You don't just unconsciously go through the motions. It's a moment by moment, day by day, year by year affair. At times I was quite lonely in high school. All my friends had girlfriends, yet I never did. Girls liked me, but nothing ever developed. I think I only went on to dates in high school. I realized the loneliness was my soul was calling out to me. At times it seems something external will fill the loneliness, but it never will. The cup must be filled from within. Being young, I didn't know that. I first met Anna in an ashram in Mexico City. She was from Ireland. Anna caught my attention. She was on the same wavelength as me. She loved to meditate. She was fun and loved the adventure of life. Anna had a great heart and soul. She was funny. She was smart and she had wisdom. Also, she loved to cook. Anna was kind. She had the maturity and understanding that life is sacred. So over time, we fell in love. I remember once I needed to renew my visa for Mexico. Anna and I took a train to Guatemala. I still remember at the border crossing this American boy around 10 years old with a beautiful parrot on his shoulder. My first thought was, this boy already knows about life. I could sense that traveling was his education. We spent a week or two in Guatemala. I always will remember Lake Atitlan. What a beautiful lake. The lake is surrounded by mountains and volcanoes. I love the Mayan people. They were short. Most of them were under 5 feet tall. Most of all, they were happy and content. They come from an incredible lineage. The Mayans at some point in time developed calendars that made the Gregorian calendar look primitive, yet we think they were ignorant and lived in the Stone Age. Anna and I visited Collie's mom. She had a house in Baja California. Along the way, we stopped off at Matanchen Bay. This bay was known by surfers since the 60s. On a good day, you can ride a wave for almost a mile. The only drawback is at sunset and sunrise the no-see-ums come out by the millions. One day we took a walk up the point, past the bay. At some point, both of us realized that we should turn around. We couldn't quite pinpoint it. We turned around and start to walk back to Matanchen Bay. Well, we were right to turn around. As we were walking, a bullet whizzed so close we could hear it. We didn't turn around but slowly walked away. At some point, Anna and I thought we were going to get married. It is a custom in Ireland that the man asked the daughter's father to ask for the hand in marriage. So I did. Anna went back to Ireland to visit her family. We were going to meet in Toronto, Canada in a month. I remember Anna comes to Toronto, and we are staying at this elderly couple's house. She made this dumpling soup that I still remember today. It was the best dumpling I ever had. We met Richard from White Rock, British Columbia. He was driving back home and said we could travel with him if we liked. We did. I remember traveling at night and an avalanche occurred as we were passing. We were at the right place and the right time. If we were off by 30 seconds, we would have covered in snow. We ran into Mahatma Ray Yeshua and Bill Patterson. They were going to do a TV interview and asked us if we wanted to come. We spent a few days there. Bill gave me a copy of a book about Milarepa. He was Tibet's greatest yogi. The Kogi lineage still exists today. In fact, in Ashland, Oregon, there is a beautiful temple that comes from the Kogi lineage. Bill, unfortunately, died about 10 years ago. He was well known for his kindness. We made it to British Columbia. We stayed at Dr. Michael Claper's house. He has been on the cutting edge of health for over 40 years. Mahatma Ray Yeshua and Bill Patterson came to visit our house. We made this incredible Indian meal for Canada's Thanksgiving. Bill showed me how to put chapatis in the oven to puff up. It was a beautiful technique. Anna and I moved to White Rock. It's right on the border of the US and Canada. It borders Semiahmoo Bay. I remember walking home with Anna late at night when it was snowing. It was so peaceful. I used to play chess with the elderly man next door. He loved my company. Anna and I went to Vancouver Island with a friend of mine named Richard. He wanted to try out surfing. We went to Wreck Beach. The waves were quite fun. The water was cold. A friend of ours had a nice sauna that we used. At some point, Anna decides to move to Nelson, BC. Quite frankly, I felt lost for a while. I didn't have the maturity and life experience to cope with this. You can't put your happiness and love into someone else without having the inside of you. Nobody can fill you up. I learned that you can't hold on to something forever. Everything changes. Our relationship was never the same. I spent around 6 months in Nelson, BC. We stayed in a beautiful cabin built by a friend of ours. Bill's school, his wife and son lived there. Nelson was an incredible place. I loved the town and the people. Many of the folks were involved in meditation in one way or another. The first time I ever saw fireflies was in Nelson. I was captivated by the flashing of the lights. We loved going to Nelson Hot Springs. It's a natural hot spring with many different temperature pools. It was a great place to go and relax with your friends. Back then it was real cheap in getting in. One of my favorite moments was going to Kootenay Lake for a 3-day adventure with Anna. We took this ferry to this island. I remember having French bread and brie cheese along with a little white wine. The ferry ride was gorgeous. Mountains were all around the lake and the water was crystal clear. During my stay in Nelson, I met someone who went to J. Victor Scherer's Academy of Natural Healing in Santa Fe, New Mexico. I decided to move there. Anna moved to Gainesville, Florida. We met up in California about a year later. Anna was still living in Florida, and I was still living in New Mexico. I introduced Anna to my mom and dad. I remember my dad made homemade gazpacho soup. It was served cold. Anna and I made an Indian meal for my mom. During this trip, my dad, Anna, and I went by car to Nevada City to visit my grandmother Josie. I loved my grandmother. That was the last time I ever saw her. Anna and I never got together again. The last time I saw her was over 30 years ago. We had lunch at a Chinese restaurant in Miami Beach. I remember having wonton soup. I have fond memories of Anna. Anna has been happily married since 1997. I'm happy that she has found someone special in her life. Thanks, Anna, for being a part of my life.